had a really beautiful, really trippy download the night before last. I said to Steve, it was the eye of the universe, and I was in oneness with everything. And so I was like scanning through dimensions and all moments in time at once, and scanning through time. Time doesn't exist, it's all now. And I was scanning through like millions of other concurrent lives that I'm having at the same time, and able to perceive their forms like quickly in these sort of shutter images or shutter feelings of microseconds. And one that stuck out that I stayed with for quite a while because it was so weird was like this crystalline rock, and it was alive in the middle of the earth, a crystalline rock, and it was alive. I was sentient, I was in it. It had like a shape. It was the shape of a rock, but you could see it as an entity because it was an entity. um, and then there were lots of other lives. There were human lives, lots of them, and that sort of shuttered in and out all of these other human lives. And then there were plant lives and an algae life form. I'm not sure if it was an algae type of entity or if it was just an algae on this planet that is alive, and I saw it as the algae. And I was in total unity. And then I don't remember this, but apparently I said all of these other lives. In all of these other lives, I was 15 seconds from death. I don't know what that means, but that's what came out. Just had a completely wild download in the bath. I've had this terrible back pain. I had to go to the chiropractor this morning. It really was awful, like immobilizing, paralyzing pain. And so I went to get needled and piriformis, glutes, quadratus lumborum. Anyway, and then I put some stuff on. She said, go to bed for a couple of days until it's better. So I eventually decided to take a bath. I was waiting for Steve to come, but I just couldn't wait anymore. And I decided to take a bath because I was really sore. And I had this wild download in the bath. So what came in was, firstly, I must do a picture of my rock, my chakra rock. I took it into the back's still sore, but it's better than it was, much better than it was. This chakra rock, and I need to do a heart with the chakra rock, I mustn't forget. I got a download of this amazing goddess, and she had the chakras shooting all the way up to this beautiful thing with the rock, where I took it up my body from the bottom, and from the root to the next, and I was putting love in each thing and talking about its function and its purpose and its meaning. I got to my throat and I was like, speak, and I had this like real realization that I haven't been speaking my own stuff and my truth. And then I got to the here, and I saw everything from like an overview, and then I just like burst into the realm of everything. It's like a mad kundalini rising experience. But then I got the instinct to touch the two pain areas, the neck and the lower back, and I realized these were my second and fifth chakras. And so I got them to speak to each other, and what my body was saying was, speak your truth. You know, your content is amazing. And my chakra stone, by the way, is an upside down chakra. I painted it upside down because it was about the body first, and the orgasm and the birth and the earthly experience, and kind of it popped the chakras on their head. And at the time I wondered if that was sacrilegious or not, but I don't care. It came out of me, and today what came out of me was amazing. So I moved the stone up my body to each place, and it popped everything. And then I became aware of what I painted and how I draw the goddesses. It's a chakra scale, and I'm going to create a scale of chakras where each chakra gets different color codings according to where it is on the spectrum and what other chakra it is trying to communicate with. So it's this connection of chakras. So what I then did when I got out of the bath, just having had this mind-blowing experiencing and downloading these codes, my eyes were doing this, like from side to side, up, down, side, like almost involuntarily. And I stopped it a few times, and then it started happening again. And I kept wondering, was I controlling it or not? And then I just let my rational mind float off, and then it just went mad, and the downloads came, so it was fucking incredible. But then, oh my God, there was so much. These codes, the codes that we're downloading, I was getting the message that I don't have to ask somebody else for quantum codes. I already have them, and I'm drawing them, and I must just trust that the drawing itself is the quantum code. They don't need to add extra numbers into it. The meaning is already there, and I've got to write them as codes. oh my God, it's just like as I'm speaking, more of it is coming out. I don't, like that's something that downloaded, but I know it's real. It's so amazing to trust it. The minute you really trust it, you dive so deep into it. There's so much more to say. I'm going to have to do a few video notes. I'm so freaked out. It was so amazing, like bliss, like a kundalini popping bliss. Woo, cloud nine. And at one point I was going, you are a diviner, you are a channeler, trust it. Stop looking to others for validation. Just validate yourself. That the whole thing came in the whole fake it till you make it. It was like, baby, you are making it. You're making it. Do it. You trust it now. It's coming. And it just really is like the signs that are coming in from the universe all around me, even today, even during my pain. I mean, I'm smiling in my pain because I'm getting so many lessons from this backache. It's quite insane. Anyway, it's been such a powerful experience. Like just realizing that we are manifesting the things in our body that we're feeling in our spirits. And if we work on our spirits, we can just really recode the body. Oh God, and the quantum codes thing, which was so amazing. If I create this scale, the chakra scale, and tie my goddess cards within the next deck of cards, I can also create it's separately to the goddess cards, separately to the chakra cards. I can create a chakra scale and teach a kinesiology course on the chakra scale and how to help people to get their chakras communicating with each other. Oh, there was something about DNA as well. I can't remember, but there was something about DNA upgrading and, oh, that we are manifesting. So the hypnosis thing came in strongly as well. I also listened to some Pam Gregory and some Dolores Cannon today, and it wove absolutely in with the near-death experience that I was listening to while I was in the bath today, which was really a powerful and this incredible experience. It was weaving in and out of this magical language. It was just taking me on this incredible journey. So powerful. I took myself up into a corner of the room listening to her words, and I could see myself in the bath. And that's just when the channel really kicked in. It's really so incredible to have this gift. I'm so grateful. So I had a very beautiful past life regression just now. I'm still struggling a bit with this back pain and neck pain, so I went back to the lifetime in which this was a lesson for me, and it was really cool. So I went back to a pre-flood time, and I was in this amazing bay in a city, an ancient city, pre-flood city like Atlantis time. My name was Elakai. I was a scholar and a sailor, and I traveled the world trying to discover things about the world, and I was gay. And that wasn't a problem in those times. I didn't want a family, I just wanted to travel and learn. And I went to Atlantis at one point. I sailed these amazing, enormous ships. Everything very quiet and peaceful, which is quite intense. Like the civilization was very peaceful. It was a non-violent society, and but the systems of the government were becoming more and more oppressive, and it was a global government, and it just became quite controlling and authoritarian. And I became a political activist, and there was an uprising of sorts, and even though it was non-violent, they did crack down on people for breaking the rules and speaking out against the government. So I was taken away, and I had an armor on my throat. I was taken away quite violently from this big uprising in a huge amphitheater. I wasn't the only speaker, but I was one of many. And I was taken away to a place where I was allowed to carry on learning, and I lived beautifully. I had good food, and I had colleagues to live with because it wasn't a punitive society. And I wasn't allowed to speak publicly again, and I ended up dying at 58. I was taken away from public life at 56 and died at 58, and very angry that my voice had been taken. So I wonder if that has to do with the neck pain that I've been feeling. One of the other insights that I had that I've just remembered is that the reason they were a non-violent society is because that society knew and understood karma, and they knew that if they hurt or killed somebody in this life, they'd have to pay the karma of it in another life. I found that really interesting. That's why they didn't want to hurt political dissidents, that's why they removed them, but they didn't kill them because they didn't want to pay that karmic debt. So I had this really beautiful past life regression. I decided to do a past life My boobs showing, no they're not. Just done a pretty intense past life regression. I went back to pre-flood times. I was a sailor and a scholar, and I lived in a city on a bay, and these beautiful big wooden ships came into the bay, and we would sail off on them, and I was gay, and that wasn't a problem. I didn't want a family. And I became interested in politics. I ended up sailing to Atlantis and going up that was a middle causeway, a wide lane that ships could actually go all the way to the center of Atlantis. And I didn't get quite to the center of Atlantis because you had to have special permission, but I did go down that incredible causeway, which was amazing, and this beautiful ship, these amazing ship. And I got, even though it was like a pre-flood time, I got the feeling that these were Phoenicians. And anyway, I became a political activist and eventually was taken away from public life. So I was complaining and becoming an activist. I've just done a past life regression, just having a bath afterwards to try and clear my field. It was to do with this terrible neck pain that I've had. It comes and goes, but when it comes, it's pretty bad. I've been getting headaches. So I said, let's go back to that lifetime in which the lesson needed to be learned. And I went back to a pre-flood memory, and I was a sailor and a scholar. My name was Alakai, and I was 24 years old, and I was running down towards the dock for the ship that I was going to be taking next. It was this big wooden ship. I got the feeling that these were Phoenicians, but they didn't call themselves Phoenicians. And there were scholars who traveled the world and learned things and passed knowledge around, and I was one of them. And anyway, I ended up becoming an activist because the government believed in and practiced the wheel religions where they believed in reincarnation and karma. So it was a non-violent society, and that the government wouldn't kill you because they knew that they'd face karmic debt for it. If they did, if they didn't have to, there were no wars. And so I was taken away from public life. I was standing up at this uprising speaking against this oppressive government, and their soldiers came and took me away. They took me by the throat, and they took me to this place that was like a monastery, and I was with other scholars, and we weren't punished. It wasn't a punitive society, but I was never allowed to speak publicly again. And I realized that the arm around the throat and the loss of my voice was what I was learning from in that lifetime, and that's the lesson that I need to learn in this lifetime. Very, very beautiful download. Very, very beautiful regression anyway. Very intense download in the bath. I'm having a horrible back spasm. I'm 7 days into this fucking bizarre spasm that I had on Monday and Tuesday, that has now descended into like full-blown hardcore, can't barely walk, barely move. I managed to get in the bath. Steve had to come and get me out of it. I'm shuffling like it's crazy. It's very sore. But I got in the bath and I put on that Samadhi meditation movie, which is very beautiful. And I was having very beautiful revelations and ideas. And some of the things that came to me, I'll do another video about, because this is just like a little bit of the kind of shitty shit, because then I spilt the coconut oil in the bath, and then I lunged to grab it and hurt my back again. And I was trying to intuitively go into myself and heal myself, and I was kind of hurting myself and said, it's dead. It was interesting. So there was like a dark aspect to this one. And then there was a better kind of aspect to it. I got quite a lot of streaming goddesses coming in. I started seeing like shadow aspects of myself where I was being unkind to myself and about myself. And the Samadhi video going on in the background talking about letting go of judging the thought, just being in the thought and kind of accepting what is, not judging yourself for the bad thoughts that you have. That was very much playing into my meditation in the bath. And then I kind of got insight into how I am having these experiences. I've basically managed to make my body release DMT. I'm having little mini DMT experiences, and they're brought on by a wide variety of things. It can be sex, orgasms, meditating, walking in nature, bathing, working with a client. It can be smoking weed, it can be earthing myself or taking mushrooms. I have this amazing
ability to kind of switch it on and off almost at will, not at will, but there have been times when it's come to me when I've just gone, well, I want it now, I need it, and I have it. So I'm able to tap into that aspect more. And the interesting part of this, I think, is that we can all do this. We just need to train ourselves more. And so part of it is plant medicine, and we need to really push back against this demonization of plant medicine, because it does open channels for a lot of people, and because we're so thickly kind of embedded in the matrix, it helps to loosen those deep bonds, and it helps you to take that leap of make-believe from kind of fantasy into the real craziness of what's out there. And it is fantasy. It is really quite wild and beautiful. Anyway, so this back pain again is bringing me into interesting places, and I have to be grateful for what is. I am grateful for the lessons that I'm learning, and I'm ready for this lesson to change now. I'm ready for it to move out of this phase into a phase that is circling back into that binary, with that light strand, allowing that light strand to heal things and move me up that ladder. And then there was this amazing place that I was getting into my spine. I went into the very base of my spine, into my tailbone, and I twirled around in clockwise for yin, because we come in at yin at the root, and going through each chakra. And as I was going through each chakra, changing the spin from yin into yang, because yin is anti-clockwise, and coming up through all these colors. And as I was doing that, feeling lots of releases happening, and having this amazing realization that Kai Dickens said it the other day on the Joe Rogan podcast, and it blew my mind, because she says, what if consciousness is both the firmament and the peak of the pyramid? What if consciousness is what everything is made of, and then we go through this material reality, and at the top of that pyramid of enlightenment is consciousness again, it's God consciousness. And she says, and you could just pluck that off the top and put it in the bottom. And that is the download that I had over the root chakra, being that yin chakra of the yin, the ren that runs up the front of the body. In acupuncture, your reservoir of yin, that is the root chakra. For me, that's the acupoint for it. And because the top chakra is the governing chakra, which is yang, so it's consciousness that feeds all the way back down into your root again. So consciousness from the top, and it feeds all the way down to the bottom of your body and comes back in up the root. And that ailments and issues move through our systems. That's why a lot of people experience a lot of sort of lower back and abdominal issues, because they're often experiencing sort of vulnerability at their root and at their sacrum, and so that manifests as lower back pain issues, pain in that sacral region, and coming up into digestive issues, which often follow from lower back issues. And because you're not moving enough, so your digestion actually needs movement for you to digest properly. That's part of the lymphatics of the digestives anyway, that moves up into from solar plexus into heart, where you start thinking, oh, I'm not feeling so great, and it's affecting my mood and my harmony. And then you start thinking and feeling your way. You start feeling your way through it. And how am I feeling about this? And then you go into the higher heart, which is where your immunity is. I always, for myself, stuff there. It's a beautiful soft pink chakra for me. And you release stuff, and you allow for healing to start to take place. And as that's starting to take place, you come into your throat chakra, and you talk about what you need and what's happening for you, and what you're sad about, and what you need to move through in your life. And then it comes up into the inside chakra, and you start seeing the value of the lesson that you learned, the lessons you're learning, or the non-value. And even the non-value lessons have value in that they teach you that they're non-value lessons. So helps you with strategies and behaviors going forward. And then you come up into crown chakra, where you're able to release that as consciousness into the universe, as a realization, as a aha, as a understanding, as I'm upgrading the universal consciousness with my experience. And that comes down again as consciousness into the root chakra, and gives you an issue, and you get lower back pain. And then I was kind of getting into this really incredible place where I was, ouch, it's still very sore, I'm not gonna lie. So I got into this intense place where I was hacking and coding my spine. I was connecting dots. I was like playing a circuit board, like connecting wires across the motherboards on both sides of my spine, connecting the yin and the yang, thinking about the yin-yang feelings of each of those chakras as I came up the chakras. Letting go a lot of the male, letting go a lot of the female, and letting those rebalance into the balance between the two, being direct enough and indirect enough to be in that beautiful tactful space that we need to be loving, kind humans, between nurture and provide, where you don't feel like you have to provide too much of the male energy of hunting, gathering, going out into the world and coming back, bloodied and bruised, where the mother energy tends to be, I'm going to look after the stuff in the cave. I'm going to make sure that everybody's got enough root vegetables and medicine, and, the babies are being looked after and kept alive. And so where I'm stepping too much into trying to provide too much of the yang and not giving myself even enough of the yin, and rebalancing that. Oh, really, really powerful. And I saw these circuit boards going up and down my body, just at quantum speed, being reset, and emotional things running like code up my spine, really quite intense, very beautiful visuals. And then kind of being led to really delve deep into letting go of a past issue that I'm having with a person in my life who really has come to represent a lot of the kind of masculine female energy that freaks me out. And it's often the people that I butt heads with the most, like the headmistresses and the stern teachers and the ones that told me to follow the rules and be a good girl, and my rebellion against that, and how I keep choosing that person in my life and then choosing to set myself up as that person's adversary. It's a very interesting and deep dive into that part of my psyche. And just to release those parts of myself that seek that, and those parts of myself that mirror that, and to release negativity about them, but also just to accept and not to judge the thoughts that I have. Releasing a lot of that, and a lot of that was in my sacrum. And then allowing myself to realize that this deep stillness into self has not been a stillness at all. I'm still seeking to externalize a lot of my experiences. I'm still seeking to find wisdom from other places and other things. I haven't yet been into the core stillness of myself. When I've meditated, it's to go into a past life and meet somebody in a past life that can come and help you in this one. Or I've been going into my downloads and seeking sort of some kind of knowledge, some kind of aha moment that's going to give me all the answers. So this today was really a deep dive into yin and yang and the mystery of that, in that there are never going to be all the answers. Each answer you get is going to drive you to the next answer, and that's fine. You can carry on seeking answers because you love it, but don't let that become the obsessive driver of your life, and it has been for a very long time. So for me, this kind of break today, this real pain that I'm experiencing, I'm too sore to read anything. I'm too sore to, I've got a book with me. I'm going to try and read a little bit, but I can't balance my computer anywhere. I don't feel like scrolling. I just feel like sitting and relaxing deeply. And I'm going to have to do that and delve deeply into the stillness, finally, and find that still space that my spine needs to work this kink out. One of the best ways to quickly cleanse your aura if you're feeling overwhelmed is to have a bath. So put some essential oils in the bath. I love doTERRA's lavender, and put in some Epsom salts if you have it, and then get in and put your head under the water and go until your breath runs out. Several times. I do it about 5 or 6 times, and I can literally feel the stress just unclipping from my aura and floating away. I'm a bit trembly. I'm earthing after this wild, beautiful bath. So this last night I had that download about as above, so below, and we must be as reverent of what is above us as we are of what's below. And in this tonight experience, oh God, there was so much. So I ommed first, which was beautiful, and I ommed first 3 times, and then I did the do re mi with my fingers on the chakra, doing it all. And I put the chakras underwater as I was doing it, and it amplifies the sound tremendously. But between doing my 3 arms and then going into Do Re Mi, the water filled with sound. The most beautiful, it was a tinkling ring in the water, and it went on for ages. I mean, ears ringing, obviously, you're under the water, but the way it amplifies the sound and it reverberates through your whole body is so beautiful. Anyway, so the sound was happening, and then I did the Do Re Mi and listened between for the change in timbre, and it was changing timbre with each successive move up the scale. And then as I was going, I was also just really deeply feeling into my body and starting to cry, like the wisdom of this body. Like I held my perineum and I cried for the things that part of my body had done for me, birthed babies and pooped and just survived. And I saw it as a mushroom, like an earthing thing. And I realized my tailbone was earthing me to the earth, and I had to be thankful for it. I moved into my sacrum and was thankful for my tailbone, and that feeling of being earthed, and then coming into like feeling like my pelvis that held those babies. How beautiful that was. And then I came further up into and it was also about sexuality and sex with Steve, and just all of the romance that I'd had in my life. It was quite amazing that was in my sacrum. And then it came up into solar plexus, and then I really just had a big chunk. Cried and cried, because it was like thinking about all the times that I had ignored my intuition, and the times that I had gone through pain, and how much I'd learned from the pain, and how the solar plexus is a web, a matrix of holding messages throughout your body to alert you to danger, but also how much wisdom that holds. And then I just had this epiphany about how much wisdom is sitting in the perineum, how much wisdom is in the sacrum, how much wisdom is in the solar plexus and in the heart. And then I just went up the whole body just talking about the wisdom of each thing, and I thanked each thing for its wisdom and its gift, and the wisdom of how the throat is supposed to express all of it. It's supposed to talk not just to the things that happen from the solar plexus up, which is what we do, but to love and be divinely connected to the wisdom of the sacrum and the wisdom of the root. Just a really beautiful message about that. And then how that's yin energy. So this morning I watched a video on Qigong master who could levitate people and heal them with his hands, and he said he taps into his yin energy. That's what he's using, and he has electricity in just in his sacral chakra on the front of his body. It's quite incredible, and he can shock people with them. And I thought about that, how that wisdom is in his body, and that's yin energy, and we don't celebrate the yin energy. And then the other thing was how all of the traumas of my life and all the pain, oh God, I had huge chunks, huge cries about how beautiful my life is, and how happy I am, and how incredibly grateful I am to this body for giving me this vehicle to live this life, and how wonderful it's been, and how strong it's been, and just this absolute gratefulness for this material reality and how wildly beautiful it is, and how important it is, and how important it is to celebrate the body that brought you this experience, because that's how you're having it, in this body, and to celebrate it. And I'd also been doing lots of self-care in the past. I'd been doing my back exercises and strengthening my stretching my hamstrings, and really feeling into that, and feeling it as I was doing my chakra work as well, like just celebrating it and promising myself that I will oil myself and anoint myself. God. Then I scraped all the skin off my body. I did an exfoliation, and then as I was exfoliating, I was removing old layers, and then I was coming back in with the oil and anointing my body and nourishing it, promising myself to take care of it, and loving myself for taking care of my body. The last since I came out of hospital, I've really invested in my body. I've taken time to love it and nurture it and anoint it and tell it it's beautiful, just that was so lovely. Then there was also this amazing experience of I was in my solar plexus, and when I was thinking of I was thinking of ideas, because there's lots of creativity in your solar plexus, and I was like, and I can talk about this on Instagram, and then instantly it kind of dampened the download that I was getting. It really felt like I was being opportunistic. Oh, why do you want to speak about this private thing on Instagram? When I got up to throat, I realized that throat is supposed to talk about this, because I'm doing this in service. I'm not bringing out my cards into the world so that I can make lots of money. I mean, that would be fantastic. Yes, please. That's more, please. I'd love that. But it's really because it's the work that I'm here to do, to bring the goddesses into the world and to bring my work into the world. And then I had this beautiful epiphany about my other 2 books, my novels, and how I've treated them as though they were purely carbon reality, not important, just novels, just fiction, just comedy. There's no soul in there, there's no spirit. And then I realized I need to talk about the redemption in the book, because that's the message of the book. It is deeply yin, it is deeply shadow. It's talking about our shadows and the stories we live in and live out in this world, and how to attach meaning to those 2, because they're important. Everything is important. Everything is important. It's part of the yin and the yang. It's so beautiful. Oh God, there was a whole lot of forgiveness of self about things that I've done where I've been the bad person in other people's stories, and I have been. And to forgive myself for those, because I've had bad things happen to me and I've done bad things. That is yin, that is yang. You have to accept those things. Oh, just so much. I don't even know how to process this. I had a massive, wild yin body download tonight. Whew, what a beautiful, beautiful thing. God, just the tears for this life, and how grateful, and all the people in it, including the people that have fucked me over. Grateful for you guys. You've taught me so much. You've given me things to survive and experiences to have, and for the people that I've fucked over, I'm sorry I did that to you, and I hope you've been able to glean beautiful lessons out of that for the times I've been mean or catty or bitchy, or just people that I might have wronged intentionally or unintentionally. I love you and I'm sorry, and I forgive you, and please forgive me, and I hope you learned something from those experiences. And to those people who have been that catalyst for me, wow guys, I'm grateful for you. Thank you. Tonight very much about looking into self and getting the message from higher self by stepping into that. So you create a model of yourself, and then you allow yourself to become your light body, your higher self that's underneath the physical material self, the soul, the essence. And then you allow yourself to speak with that voice. You say, I allow my higher self to speak with me and through me. And then you get your client in that state to repeat affirmations and to repeat things like, the client talks about their goal, what they really want, and have them say to themselves, I support you in that, and I want that for you. And then that's alongside the process that I've already created with it. The kinesiologist is the cheerleader, where the kinesiologist does the same thing, looks into the client's eyes, says the goal with them, and says, I support you in this, I want this for you. But this is to go even deeper and speak with the voice of your higher self. And there was more. I just wanted to get this down while it's still fresh in my mind. So beautiful, beautiful bath download. Wow. Very, very subtle and gentle. But then what came up was I actually got out of the bath and thought, oh, I'm not finished. There's still something coming. And I got back in the bath. I had this great sort of epiphany around the work that I'm doing, the writing that I'm doing. I'm creating all of these processes at the moment, and working with them with clients. There's some of the things I've been working with and playing with for years, working on myself, working on... Anyway, but I keep looking for external validation for what I'm doing. So I keep going, oh, this has got to do with, whatever, crystal healing. So let me go look and see what the masters say about crystal healing. And then I feel like I need to go off on like a 6-week course of learning about crystals to write one process that mentions crystals. And I think to myself, why am I doing this in the bath? And I'm like, but you don't need to go to other people's processes, because if it was other people's stuff, it would be going to them. This is coming to you, and it's coming to you directly from source. Trust it. And when you get to the end of writing and testing, you will know what works and what doesn't, and then you edit. Just go with it right now and enjoy it. So deeply self-validating today. I am channeling Blaise right now. So I built my quantum hologram body earlier. I did the process and I did it on myself, and as soon as I'd made it, she absolutely popped into being in front of me, and I could see her in blue and yellow and rose gold on this beautiful matrix background, and she was absolutely me. It was wild. And so I came into the bath tonight with an intention. I put some beautiful oils in the bath. Citronella came into my bath tonight by accident. I grabbed the wrong bottle, but I went with it, and wow, thank you, Citronella, because what came in was I got in and I decided to do a little bit of chakra work, because I've been avoiding it because I did overload my Kundalini last week. And so I'm doing work on parasites at the moment, and so I did this parasite cleanse where I broke off the parasites inside me. I saw them, I visualized them. I visualized a tapeworm just under my solar plexus because I've been feeling something there, and so I just visualized it as a tapeworm. I don't know what it was. And I broke it off and let it flow freely through my intestines, through my quantum intestines, and I felt it in my own intestines as I was like kind of gargling it through quantum Bronwyn's. And then I went in and I found the stomach, and I cut into my stomach spiritually, and I went inside and I found this little girl, this little Denisovan past life of mine, that she's crouching in there because she feels safe, she's in her cave. And I allowed her to get out, and as she was coming out, she brought the head of this parasite with her. Very gory, very gross, and she kind of crushed it spiritually and then threw it away, and we cleaned out that space. And my blue quantum hands, my own hands went quantum in the grid and got fuzzy gloves, and I healed both quantum Bronwyn and myself in that area. Very wild. And then I opened portals between quantum Bronwyn and I in an amazing sequence that turned into an upside down heart, and it referenced this midline in the body between heart and solar plexus, which is an inversion, as above, so below. So solar plexus is an upside down heart, and heart is a heart, heart way around. It was nearly too much for Instagram. So visioning as above, so below, and correcting that with my chakras, and just doing toning me and far coming up into heart, just this incredible, and it was all happening in an angelic way with this quantum version of me. I could hear angelic voices, and then I said, okay, I'm opening a portal between myself and my quantum body so I can become you and be you, and you can become me and be me, and we can surrogate for each other. And she immediately became my goddesses, all of them, and me as all of my goddesses. And then she became Blaze, which is this quantum goddess I've drawn for my next deck, which is Quantum Chakra. And she is me and I am her, and we blaze together. And oh wow, she went through every iteration of me, as from a baby to today and to past lives even. She brought me into this beingness of Blaze, my goddess. So I am Blaze and she is me. We are each other. She is Bronwyn. But I have this quantum goddess body version of myself that I can work with. And I've just had such flippin' amazing downloads, just like, whew, like there's so much coming. The goddess deck has come to me in much more clear crystalline form. I've also hooked up with this incredible woman through this incredible man. I hooked up with Bill Letson, a near-death experiencer, and he has had insights into my goddesses that have just blown my mind. And he introduced me to this woman, Casey Clark, and her work is wildly beautiful. She has these crystalline god and goddess and entity experiences that just amazing. And we've been in contact with each other, and just like I found a crystal today and I connected with it, and wow, I need to go get it and bring it into the bath. I forgot to do that. That's going to do more stuff. But basically, I am Blaze. I am a holographic goddess as well as myself. I have a quantum body, which is my body, and I can enter it into it and it into me. And 2025 is wild, guys. So I went and got my chakra crystal. I don't know why I've called it that, but well, it's my chakra crystal now. It's been, and I didn't even realize I'd done this, it's been charging on a whole set of magnets that I've got next to my bed, because I'm trying to figure out which face of the magnet is north so that I can use it, because I've had downloads about using magnets on myself and I can't do it because I don't know which of the north faces and the south faces. But basically this crystal's been charging on it all day, and I've just had like an incredible download for the book. I also neglect to mention that I downloaded a whole lot of processes working with blessed water, with essential oils in it, with drinkable essential oils to clean and bless your throat, your heart, and your solar plexus chakra on the way down. But it'll bless all the chakras from throat down. And allow for release of things that need to leave the material body out of the bottom. So a whole process downloaded for that. Pink Fuzzy Gloves has downloaded. So much stuff coming in. It's just like, whew, bonanza. I don't know what moons are up right now, what signs are in what, but wow, just like unbelievably powerful stuff coming in for me tonight in this bath download. It looks like I'm becoming a bath channel a bit. This crystal, which I found today,
I've had for many years, and I thought I'd lost it, but I remembered that I'd stuck it onto a staff for Julian once so he could be a wizard with a staff, and it fell off, and I always meant to turn it into a staff, and I never got around to it, and I lost it. And I've been looking for a clear quartz crystal since I saw Casey Klaas stuff, and I only had one semi-clear crystal, and I saw something in it, but it wasn't that exciting. But today, I found this crystal, and I'd brought into my room 2 other crystals that I had now today set on this magnet charging station next to my bed that's been there for a couple of days. And I had this crystal and that crystal on there charging. And just the night before last, I had this amazing download where I'd been like reading up on crystals and thinking I had to become an overnight expert in crystals because suddenly crystals have raised themselves in my holistic kind of practice and in my book. I mean, I've used crystals. I have a room full of crystals, and I often muscle test and use them in my balances, but I haven't really dived into crystals as deeply as I could have. And I'm not going to do that, but I'm being guided by my goddesses. There's a goddess in this crystal. I've seen her. I've looked into this crystal and found a beautiful little entity within, and I called her a chakra crystal. I came and got in the bath and said, I've brought my chakra crystal, and that's what she is. She's for this quantum chakra goddess deck that is downloading into me now, because they're starting to make their presence known, and they're starting to bang on the door to be let in so that I can start working on their book and their deck. So she's come to help me do that through the work of through this amazing channel of people that have opened up in the holistic world to help me. This amazing woman Casey, this amazing man Bill. I hooked up today with somebody who's got a whole quantum practice that is brand new, that he's channeled and he's been working with for 10 years. And we have a Zoom meeting scheduled, and I'm just so fucking blown away by all of this right now. And I am just, the goddess is great, and God is great, and you are great, and I am great, and we are the goddess, and we are God. And I love you, Blaze Bronwyn, goddess.
And did I mention that it's raining outside? I had a guy on some crystal site earlier talk about crystal goddesses and water goddesses. And I said, I'm going to get in the bath with my crystal later and see what downloads. And dude, thank you. So I've become officially now the crazy crystal lady. I've just communed with my beautiful crystal, and I have named her. She is Blaze. She has been anointed, and I have spoken to her, and she says that she's the embodiment of the goddess of me, Blaze, which is my goddess. It represents me. And she says she's in any crystal. I can access her anywhere, but she'll be in Blaze and talk to me and help me through the process of creating the next deck. And I'm just completely so thankful and blown away by this amazing gift that I've been given. I had such chakra popping, mad kundalini in the bath. I'm just absolutely mind blown again.